Hi, I'm Nicole Turnbull, co-director of the Psychosocial Safety and Leadership Institute, and today I'm excited to be speaking with David from Get Fire Training. We're going to be having a chat about who David is, what Get Fire Training offers, why it matters, and how you can connect with him if you'd like to learn more. Dave, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for being part of the Psychosocial Safety Collective.
Nicole, thanks for having me.
You are welcome. Now, for people who might not have met you before, can you tell us a bit about your background and experience?
So, I'm an emergency trainer, and
Mhm.
it's not always about fire. So, it says it in our name, FIRE. It's more an acronym than it is the word fire.
Yep.
I've got a background in emergency services. I love seeing our community safe. So,
Hmm.
our services and myself and our trainers provide a little bit of understanding and review the roles and responsibilities of
Hmm.
organisations. And I suppose that all that historical work that we've done as trainers and
Hmm.
as emergency services personnel, we can take that and assist organisations to do better
Mm,
in emergencies and
yes.
all the different facets of emergencies.
Can you share some of those? So, what does FIRE stand for, and what are some of the other facets?
So, sure, F is for fire,
Yeah.
I is for incident,
Hmm.
R is for response, and E is for evacuation. So,
Mm,
everything when you get in relation to a response, it, most of the time people talk about the word fire warden. Well,
yeah.
there's a whole terminology that the Australian standards 3745 planning for emergencies in facilities. I
Mm,
actually call it the ECO, the Emergency Control Organisation. So
mm,
the chief warden, everyone's heard the terminology chief warden, but then there's all the other hierarchy and the control mechanism that sits around that. So the
mhm.
deputy warden, the communications officer, it could be the first aid officer. But then
Mm,
you have some of the facilities that we work with are 27-story buildings. So you have a floor warden for each of them. You have
yeah.
an area warden for each of the quadrants or the zones that the fire panel might be connected to.
Mhm.
You have the everyday red vested or red hatted wardens as well. And they're the people that do all the work, the search and so on. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a hell of a lot more than just fire.
It is. And I think the incident is the big one as well, right? Like it's any type of incident. And we were having a chat before that could include, chemical or threat or yes, fire, but there's so much more than that. And I love your tagline too. When there's an emergency, the time to prepare has passed.
It has, doesn't it? Like, and that's where all this review, the debriefing is really important. So once the evacuation's completed, getting
Hmm.
the ECO personnel together and
Hmm.
actually what worked well, what didn't work so well, what could we do better? Having a
Mm.
look at the emergency plan, because do you know what? Very rarely I come across organizations that have a comprehensive emergency plan that's nuanced to their site
Yeah.
and to their specific roles and responsibilities. So you can have a basic emergency plan that
Mhm.
looks good on paper, but is it bespoke to some of the peripheral operations that might be a hazard or a threat to your organization?
Mm.
And when you talk about that, it could be a personal threat. That personal threat could come from within. It could be a worker that's having an opportunity to take on another personnel.
Yeah.
But more and more, we're seeing people approaching workplaces,
Mm.
receptions, in a anxious situation, and identifying that is there a hazard here, or maybe what's the risk assessment look like? So
Mhm.
the Australian standards also has in their planning for emergencies and facilities a color code recognition for that
Mhm.
as well. So you have code black for
Mhm.
personal threat and or armed offender. You have code purple for bomb threat or suspicious parcel.
Mm-hmm.
The code red, we all know pretty well because that's fire. Code blue for a medical emergency. More uncommon ones are the code grey. You might have a missing child in a childcare facility or a residential care facility, a missing person.
Yeah.
But you've got code yellow and code brown, code yellow being internal emergency. And you can think when we talk about incidences, because people go, oh, fire warden. Well, fire is just a very small facet of an incident. Could be thousands of different things that cause an internal emergency. If the power goes out, that's an internal emergency. If a tap spews water out everywhere, that's an internal emergency. The code brown could be a bushfire alert. It could be flooding. It could be a car accident outside. It could be a gas leak. So thousands of different things. And workers need to be prepared or at least have quick reference and had at least initial training on that, because the
It's a
duty to
lot.
prepare is there.
Yes, there is a legal requirement for organizations, and it is a lot. And it's great to have someone like you who solely focuses on this to support organizations. But what makes the way you do things or get fire training, what makes your approach or service and your services unique?
Well, unique's a tough one. I suppose the breadth of organizations that we have worked with, myself from a personal situation, I've come from a domestic and family violence background with Department of Communities and Justice as well. So I've worked in that organizational realm where I've seen, family violence. I've seen social services. I've worked with social services. I've worked with childcare services. And as an emergency responder, I've been to all sorts of different operations, and most of our other trainers as well have the capacity to bring all of these nuances and all of this bespoke learning to provide emergency planning committees with the scope and understanding, which helps in the preparation of training for those personnel. So you're not just getting a very broad standard, you're getting best practice for that particular situation.
Love it. That nailed it. And why is this work important to you?
Look, I grew up in a regional area, and I understand that, the city has great capacity in their emergency services because, let's say, a fire station, they're littered everywhere. Ambulance, they're all over the place. Police, they're everywhere. And there's short distances, but I can put something like Coffs Harbour for me, where I am based and live. Just the delay in getting some of these emergency services to the site can be hard. And that's, school pickup times or drop off times. It could be school holiday times when there's a bottleneck, or it could just be that there is a short number of services because they're out doing something. Police might be responding to something a hell of a lot more important than somebody who's a bit creepy standing at the door of your business. But how do you handle it? And keeping the safety and well-being of your personnel paramount, and any people that are also on site. So it's really important that I keep my community, certainly my regional area of the North Coast and mid-North Coast. And that's where I think our trainers, they all have their little areas that they love looking after. And that's really important. Keep making people go home. I think recently SafeWork New South Wales has just changed their little catch cry, and people are irreplaceable at work and at home. And I want people to go home safe.
Yeah, I love that, Dave. And what kind of organizations or leaders do you work with most and enjoy working with?
That's a tough one too, because look, recently I've just gone through a big compliance with residential care facilities.
Mm-hmm.
That's I have to say the word bread and butter, because it is. It's mandatory that
Yeah.
all of these personnel, whether they, and that's a very transient
Mm.
type of workplace. We have to do those every 6 months.
Yeah.
Just all of our clients we have to just come back to. But the ones I really love working with, I love working with the NDIS sector,
Yeah.
because all of those supported independent living facilities, you've got very vulnerable people living in these um, multi-dwellings. You've got them going out into the field with their carers.
Mm-hmm.
The communication's really important with the emergency response skills and the handling and the operation of installed equipment.
Mm-hmm.
I love childcare. I think that's really good. I mean, we don't get the opportunity to do childcare every 6 weeks or 10 weeks, but
Mm-hmm.
annually they have to do that.
Yeah.
So, they'll make an education day, a professional development day, and they'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. I,
Great.
I love shopping centers too, because, they're a really high risk place. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't really identify too many, because I love them all.
Yeah. And it's the community, right? It's not really an industry. It's more, you supporting the Mid North Coast community, which is fantastic. It's people that you know, it's not just a service you provide. So I
That's
love that. And that's why we really align too. And what's the best way for people in the community to connect with you if they want to find out more?
Well, it's pretty simple. Our cat's cry,
Mhm.
our website is
Yeah.
getfire.training. Training replaces .com.au, by the way.
Yes.
So training, getfire.training. Have a look at our
Love it.
website. There's plenty of information. I really try to keep, and we get other input into our blog.
Mhm.
So much information, but getfire.training.
Love it. Thank you, Dave. And thank you so much for being part of the collective and the value that you add to the community. I really appreciate it and look forward to the next 12 months and more with you.
I'm so happy to be a part of it. And thank you, Nicole.
You're welcome.